All right, well, welcome everyone. And Catherine's here. Come on up, promoting you to panelist. Just because at some point I'm going to change this into a meeting, but welcome to the Feminine Wisdom Circle. And I'm Laura Rubinstein, and Josette Diaz is here with me. We're going to be your hostesses and for today's conversation and discussion in Feminine Wisdom Circle. I love these sessions. And one of the things we love to do is to have one of our participants read the intention, which I'm going to put on the screen. Does somebody want to volunteer and read it? I'll get you in the mood.
Sure.
Thanks, Rena. Here it comes.
Our intention is to create a sacred space for wise women leaders to access our juicy feminine energy and take time to nurture our soul, connect with like-hearted women, and create a ripple of compassion.
Yeah, let's all breathe into that.
Amen.
I don't know about you. Just coming here to me feels like nurturing to know I'm just with you all, taking time. And do you want to do the safe space, Josette?
Yes. Yeah, let me get over there really quick.
There you go. I put on screen.
Great. Thank you. So here is our safe space. Hello, everybody. And each woman's story here is hers to tell. We listen from our hearts. We don't give advice without permission. And we welcome tears as a release and sign of great healing in process.
We also welcome pajamas.
Yes. We relish pajamas. Celebrate them.
Yay. So every session of the Feminine Wisdom Circle, we create this safe space with those guidelines. And we also pick ahead of time, Josette and I picked a card from the Feminine Power Cards, which is a deck of feminine wisdom cards that have practices and principles on them. The pink side is the principle, the blue side is the practice. And they're at femininepowercards.com in case that's the next question on your head, in your mind. And today's principle is cultivate compassion. Cultivate compassion. And the practice that is recommended. Hey, Catherine, great to see you. And Lake, is that Lake Louise there behind you? That's so great. Today's practice is, it actually starts with the word practice. And by the way, when you get these cards, at the bottom is a symbol, and this one has a star. And the star means it's something to do. The heart means it's something to contemplate or journal about. And the smiley face means it's something to affirm, like an affirmation. So this one, it says, practice restraint from disempowering actions. The next time you want to criticize another, say nothing. Allow it to dissipate and accept what's happening. So in the spirit of cultivating compassion.
Can you read that one more time?
Yeah. Practice restraint from disempowering actions. And the next time you want to criticize another, say nothing. Allow it to dissipate and accept what's happening. Yeah, this is the big one for me. No comments from the peanut gallery. But yeah, so there it is in blue and white for you, and pink. Yeah. So we're going to talk about what is it to practice compassion. And before we do that, what we like to start our sessions out with is a centering exercise. And Josette has prepared that for us today to take us through getting us centered and into that space of compassion.
So I like to guide you through just a moment of silence, and it's, somewhat basically like a guided meditation, but not a deep meditation, just to kind of get your energy and your mind and your soul ready to just kind of open and accept what we're going to do. So if you don't mind just closing your eyes And we're going to bring in 3 deep breaths, and you bring the breath in through the nose. Imagine the breath moving down the back of your spine to the base of your spine. Hold it there for just a moment and then release the breath. And as you release that breath, it collects every bit of tension that moves up that spine and goes directly out through your mouth with the breath releasing. So let's begin. Breathe in. Hold for a moment. And release. Once more. Hold and release. And one last time. Hold and release. Now imagine a gold ball at the top of your head. And this gold ball begins to shine brightly and begins spinning. You might even see sparks flying off the ball. And the ball gently moves into your crown chakra right at the top of your head, clearing out any debris that's hanging around, causing any kind of clutter. It just dissipates in the light as the gold ball gently moves down into the mind's eye, right between your eyes, continuing to spin, clearing away like window washers on your mind. As the gold ball gently moves down into your throat chakra, right at your throat center, letting go of all the should have, would have, and could haves of the day. The gold ball gently moves right down into your heart center, where the ball begins to glow brighter and bigger and brighter and bigger until it explodes into a tiny million pieces. And as your mind's eye awakens to a new reality, you see yourself standing in a room that is white all around: the ceiling, the walls, the floor. And in front of you is a circular room, and you move towards it, and the door gently opens, and you step inside. And as you step inside, you begin to see beautiful sparks of iridescent light gently moving around you. There's a safe feeling here that you are in a safe space. And as the light gently moves around you, you begin to understand that the light is there to assist you in clearing out what might be sitting in your energy field. It's letting go of any judgments you might have had from the day, letting go of any misconceptions that you might be holding on to. And it's allowing your perception to open. And notice how this feels in your body. Notice how it begins to create a new space in your mind and in your heart that is just full of allowance and possibility. It's not filled with anything. It doesn't say anything about you or about your day. It just exists. So let's just be with this empty, open space and allow it to be what it is, which is open and a blank page. And just notice if there's any thoughts that might be swirling around. And that's okay if there's thoughts that are racing through your mind. Just allow them to be there. You don't have to attach to them. There's nothing to do here. It's a practice of being. And as you continue to allow yourself to be in this space, you begin to see the gold light come back into your vision. As the gold ball forms in front of you and begins to spin and glow, getting brighter and brighter, as it brings you back into your body, right into your heart space. Just take a deep breath here. And the gold ball gently moves up into your throat chakra, gently floating into your mind's eye and releasing out through the top of your head. And just gently bring your presence back into your eyes. And when you feel ready, come back into the room.
Of that nurturing, self-nurturing, self-compassion space that we get to go to. And as with a compassionate eye, where we are going is taking a look and at what judgments we're looking at releasing. It could be judgments about another or judgment about yourself. But what would you like to calm down with regard to any judgment? Take a moment, maybe write it down. Think about it. You don't have to write it if you don't want to, but think about, is there anything that could be relaxed around judgment? Because isn't judgment the opposite of compassion? Or another way to say it is when you relax the judgment, you make room for compassion.
Mm.
Mm.
What you said there was very important, Laura, that making room for compassion. We don't always make room. We make room for judgment. We don't always make room for compassion. I loved how you changed that.
I love how you frame that, Joanne. It's about, and the whole intention today was the ripples of compassion.
Hmm.
And that ripples. But just, when we relax the judgment, we just make that room and we can ripple it out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when one self-corrects themselves or just models that compassionate, like, well, yeah, we could judge. I was just on the phone with a friend and she's very frustrated with a family member who won't give her information because she feels he doesn't trust. And if she let go of the judgment around that, I just wonder and allowed for more compassion or just switched from one. It's like one disappears the other.
Mm-hmm.
So what could happen? So what we want to do, now that you've thought a little bit about where judgment lies, and or maybe it doesn't lie in your life at the moment, but we want to get to know each other. So what we typically ask is you say your name, your location, what you're up to in the world, and why don't you share, if you're willing, a judgment you're looking at releasing or calming. And I'll put this in the chat so you can have it. So your name, your location, what you're up to, and what judgment or judgments are you looking at calming, releasing. And Joanne, would you like to start us off?
Sure, why not? Okay, my name is Joanne Ewing, and I claim that because I was an Eisen for most of my life, and I've claimed my real self back again, and it feels good. I always still forget though sometimes. I am from Orange County in Orange, California, Orange. And I'm back in my home that I grew up in because I moved back in to take care of my mother, who's 88 years old and needed to stay in. We wanted to keep her in her home. The judgment, what I find very funny, is I've been really hot and heavy into the judgment of myself lately, mostly because I've always been on top of things, always had my life together. Putting things together wasn't a problem. And a couple of months ago, I realized that my brain wasn't working the way that I usually am used to it working. So I had so much judgment, which I have anyway from my mom, of not being enough, not being smart enough, not being good enough, not being capable enough. So not only am I back in the house with my mom, but I'm also now refacing what I had tried to unlearn while I was gone for over almost 40 years. And what ended up happening as well in the interim of that is I found out that I have an aneurysm in my brain. And so with that, I'm dealing with the fact that I have an actual issue with my brain. I have judgment about my brain. And so I was supposed to see a doctor today, which I messed up the time, just human error. But instead of being compassionate with myself, that I'm really like over the top when it comes to stress and when it comes to my judgment of myself in this predicament, I didn't have compassion for myself. I was mad at myself because I wasted my time. I have things to do, blah, 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 blah. You have the whole long list. And so I find this very interesting and very important that this is a conversation today, because compassion for me, for myself, is really, really difficult. But for anybody else, I would give it at a heartbeat without even thinking about it.
Yeah. And, if you don't have compassion for yourself, it's really hard to have compassion for others.
Exactly. Yeah, it's actually pretty easy for me to have it for
yeah.
others.
But there's something that happens, you get even extra, like it ripples out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it gives other people permission to have compassion for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rena, would you like to go next?
Sure. I was just thinking about how to talk about it. So, hi, Rena. I am in Longmeadow, Massachusetts. And the judgment I'm looking to release is, I don't know if it's fact or fiction, but I believe that one of my colleagues thinks that, or I believe he thinks that, based on his emotional reaction to some things today, that I'm racist, which is, I think it's in my head because that's the only explanation I have. And I guess there's a judgment on why, well, the judgment of me that way, but also a judgment of myself of um why would I think that? If I know I'm not, why would I think that? So it's like sort of double judge sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, and I can't go into details because I'm under an NDA, but it's a very big decision that that where I work is looking to make, and it could have a national attention kind of a thing, and it's just like, and then the irony of all of that is that my job is like the vice president part, in part one of the parts of my title is marketing. So all the PR and all the stuff is in my area. So there's also another like layer of like, I have to be really careful about the things I say and how I say it. And if one colleague thinks that I meant something else, and I'm the person in charge of marketing, PR, and all that, like, thank God we're going to have external people helping us, but it's just sort of multi-layered.
Hmm.
And
Well,
I really, really wanted to be on this call today because I do feel like I need to release that. Like, it's like, if you think that's what it is, that's it's a you problem, not a me problem. But I am curious. I think I replaced your word compassionate with curious because I feel like the opposite of judgment is curiosity. Um, and so I feel like I need to have a new approach of just curiosity.
ooh, I love that. And I think the way to get from judgment to compassion is curiosity. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful segue. It's a beautiful, beautiful. Cool. I think, and we're going to do a whole process around it, so it might support you with that. Catherine, hello. Share, please.
Hello. It's been such a long time, and I definitely felt called to you this morning. So, saw the topic. It's like, oh, yeah, definitely called this morning. Um, I have been fracturing this past week. I've had yet another medical thing put on me again as of 2 months ago now. And it's just like layering and layering, and I get very judgmental with myself for not having solved everything in 5 minutes, like a math problem should be solved, because everything is solvable. Um, yeah, not entirely sure where to go after that, but it's the old ways aren't working. The just do it attitude doesn't work anymore. It I need shouldn't say need. I am searching for different long-term reactions that produce different outcomes so that I'm not having these wall crashing moments because these walls are just popping up out of nowhere. So, um, judgment typically is hitting your head against a wall, so I guess that's where it's coming from. And I have had more than enough people in the last month tell me that I would never treat another human being the way I speak to myself, and they're right. So that is a habit I'm searching how to drop.
Nice. I think today's topic is perfect. It always is, right? Um, I'm going to go next, and then Josette, why don't you go? So I think we're all, well, a lot of us have mentioned things that are self-compassion worthy things. We're judging ourselves. So what came to me right now is, why don't we ask ourselves what's right with me? What's right with me? So in the moment of when you can catch yourself in a judgment, a self-judging moment, what if we asked what's right with me? That just and Catherine, whatever you were saying, kind of when I had that image of the head against the wall, I was like, oh, that's like I had the what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Right. But what's right with me? What's right with me? Could be the antidote to that. So I think I'm dealing with from me for more self-judgment of myself for sure. Health and feeling good in my body. I want to feel even better. I feel okay, but I don't get great sleep because I have back pain. And I have earlier today I was standing up and all of a sudden I had to sit down and I'm like, what is that about? Then I felt much better, but I may have been just in a posture that was not making me feel good for some reason. And it's also that time of the month for me and that and it's a postmenopausal time of the month because I'm on hormones that give me a period. So yeah, and that's always a more sensitive time.
Mhm.
So cool. I can't wait to get to the process. I'm going to pass it off to you, Josette.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Josette Diaz, and I'm in San Diego. And what I'm up to in the world, gosh, a lot. I've been doing a lot of, my life is really filled with just a lot of working mostly. That's where I get a lot of joy. And so I work part-time in a tax office. Woohoo! And I also have my own business and I help women. So the judgments that I'm looking at releasing or calming, I've been really going through a process of what started out as looking at my values and feeling like I needed to prove my worth. And when I really sat with that, what it really came down to, the core of it was really about shame. And so I've been working on unraveling that shame and where that comes from and what that looks like for me. And I love how you prefaced what's right, Laura, because I think, it's easy to go. It's so, I think women are so, we're constantly analyzing ourselves and making sure we're doing it right. And all of those things I can name off, several different things that shame sort of affects with me. And yet at the same time, what is the opposite of that? What's right with it? I think is a good question to ask yourself. I mean, you still do the work, yet knowing the polar opposite of what brings joy in that area. What is it that we're receiving from it? I think is a worthwhile endeavor. So that's kind of what I'm looking at today.
Now, the card today was talking about when other people do something, say nothing or criticize, don't criticize, say nothing.
Mhm.
So we kind of designed it about that, but I think let's see if we can do this also about it doesn't really matter whether it's someone else or yourself. So I'm going to put our notes on the little PowerPoint on the screen for us. And which is all about taking the journey from judgment to compassion. And I think Rena had a really good shortcut. Get curious. So if you need a really quick antidote, it's get curious and follow this card. It's allow something to dissipate. Like you want to say something, listen to yourself say it, and then don't buy into it. Get curious about it. I love that. But what if you start off first, like we did, list our judgments, and then what is the fear or the insecurity, the internal struggle that manifests as judgment? Where is it coming from? Because that's what you can do in that pause. It's like, oh, where is this coming from? What am I afraid of happening? Like I can totally see with my friend who I was talking with today, she's afraid of her mother's unhappiness, right? So, and because she can't get this information and she's judging somebody, and it's becoming, when you resist, it persists type of thing. Are there personal relationships that have shaped your view? I mean, Joanne, you mentioned your mother, right? And then, or what is the cultural influence? It could be, so where are these judgments coming from? And Rena, this might be reflective of what you were sharing, right? Are there expectations that dictate some behavior? And did you break that and somehow, or like I know in today's world, I often doubt myself too. I mean, I wouldn't have thought I was racist. But now with all the education, and now and almost I'm the opposite. I must be racist. It's like, that's my judgment. I must be racist. It's like, I can't help myself or something, or because I don't know, I was born into it. But yeah, so then it's like, okay, what do we do once we list our judgments? We get into this acceptance zone. You be with that judgment. Practice awareness, stay present of those feelings. Well, first you embrace understanding. You seek to understand the situation and cultivate empathy. Like, what is that other person going through in this situation, right? Did you take on something that's theirs, right? Are you mirroring them in some way? That's kind of an empathy thing, right? And then how can you create, and this is the curious, how can you create an environment of acceptance and build a deeper relationship? So I love the idea of asking curious questions. What makes you say that? Or tell me more about that. Or I wonder why. And maybe you're just asking yourself. But that's from the journey from judgment to acceptance is where we can go. And Josette, is there anything you want to say about these two phases?
Well, I think that the judgment piece it's important for us to kind of like see what's underneath it. Where is the judgment coming from within ourselves? And and also noticing the perception that we have around that judgment.
Yeah. So what's underneath it?
Mm-hmm.
And then what did you say? What's underneath it?
And where is that? And noticing the perception of what you have around it.
Yeah.
And I really like the embracing piece because in my mind, when we can give ourselves that empathy and compassion around what it is that we perceive that we're judging, what that judgment might be, it comes from somewhere, and usually it's some kind of wounded part of ourselves. And when we can open up that, like in the meditation, we opened up a space, right? That space of just being and allow that to sit with us and speak to us about what it knows. Because I think sometimes our perceptions are really, um, they're there to show us something about ourselves that will take us to a deeper understanding of compassion and empathy towards our truest self that leads us there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. And then once we get there, when we get that, once compassion takes root, it can create that ripple effect, which is a beautiful thing because we need more of that in today's world. And that's one of the reasons I love meeting together, because we set that intention, we start practicing it ourselves, and then we impact others. So creating ripples of compassion as we're kind to ourselves and accepting parts of ourselves, and we let go of those negative self-assessments, and we allow more self-love, and we feel better, and we ripple out that joy to other relationships in our lives, and we can strengthen those bonds with our family, friends, and colleagues, and our community, and we can encourage acts of kindness and support. I remember last night I was at my ceramics class, and I did it. We're going to do a big cleanup, but I decided to start just cleaning little things here and there, and I always do that. because first of all, I like a cleaner environment. And if I make a little extra effort, maybe my fellow students will as well. Not that they will, not that I have any expectation or judgment against it, but I know that I want to ripple that out, like take care of stuff. And you don't need permission or direction or instruction to take care of things that you use, right? Especially if they're in a public space. I've often seen, and I've done it myself, women wiping down public restrooms before they leave. They wipe their hands, and then they take before they throw out their paper towel, they wipe down that area. And I'm like, that was really nice. And then I did it, right? It rippled out. So it can have a bigger impact.
I feel like I practiced this today, right after the incident with where I felt like I was being racist, to the point where the boss said, let's take a break. Like we were in the middle of a meeting, and I took that opportunity to I just went to Italy, and I brought back little gifts for my team, like the leadership team, and like was just, sort of showing those kindnesses, even though like this whole like emotional thing had just happened. But then the judgment just came right back, like, oh, will that come across as seeming disingenuous and strategic? Like, it's like the little brain does not tune off. Anyway.
Yeah.
And that's when you can use your trick, curiosity. I wonder why, or what's right with this, or
like, why would I think that? Like, I was going to give the gifts anyway. Like, it just seemed to be right. I don't. It just we're so horrible to ourselves.
times, yeah. So we have what I just went through in a Google handout for you, plus more in there to work through. Fill in the blank where find, and it has a great little and I'll put it on the screen for you. Sometimes we find ourselves, like you were just describing, Rena, in the weeds of judgment. And we have to get ourselves back into that acceptance zone so we can play in the compassion pool. And so I put in the chat the link to the handout, and I'll put it on the page with the replay as well. But on the second page, just a little visual for you to but it's got to start like your inner compassion, right? So okay, you were in the weeds of judgment. Use your curiosity and being with that judgment, not in the judgment. Like, it's really good, Rena, you're talking about it and you're looking at it kind of as an observer. And then understand that you're human, that you're not alone in doing this. Embrace it, like Josette was pointing out. What does judging ourselves give us? Kind of keeps us humble. There's some positives to it in a sense, but then it keeps us away from self-love, right? So, and then we get to choose, what do we want to do? Yeah. And choose that curiosity or that love and inner compassion. And it's something to really sit with. And this acceptance zone is a really juicy place, because as you become aware of what's motivating it, it kind of can bankrupt it right in its tracks, especially when you bring, Rena, like you said, that curiosity. It's like, yeah, why am I doing it? Well, I'll sit with that and, allow an answer to come. But in the meantime, I'm going to do what the card said, is just say nothing to myself. To see if we can quiet that critical voice and allow something to emerge. What else is this bringing up for people? Thoughts, comments, advice?
Laura, what I heard and what you said at the end is that it's so easy for us to be critical of ourselves. But at the end, when you said allowing ourselves, and it's really embracing that allowing that we don't always do, that really stuck out to me. I don't
Yeah.
give myself that permission.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The last page or the second to last page of the handout invites you to take a moment to reflect and what are those judgments? How can you transform them into acts of compassion? So that's another, give your brain that hard question. How can I transform this into an act of compassion? And Rena, I think actually that's what you did. It was an act of compassion. It's like it's time to shift the energy and put in generosity in here and make people feel valued, worth thought of, important in their life. And I really think checking in with yourself, is that where you're coming from? Or are you coming from, I want to patch over something, or it's disingenuous. That's the difference. When you get to the pure intent of it, then you can act accordingly, make the choice. And then I love reflecting on this ripples of like you're gonna when you do this being with your judgments, embracing them, being curious, and then getting to compassion. What happens? What are the benefits? Let's talk about that. What do you think is the benefit of it?
Well, first of all, I think just going through the discussion is like I guess it's like sort of like the naming of it and recognition of it. Like I just said, I caught myself doing it right after I realized I was doing it. And so maybe it's about sort of stopping the cycle a little bit and like trying to rewire the brain so that you're not judging and that you're looking at it always with the compassion lens and not the other.
I like to call it a muscle,
Mhm.
that you're practicing using. It'll
Mhm.
get stronger, and as the more you practice and more you stop it. And did you ever hear the little joke about the guy who was walking down the street and he fell into the hole that was there? And then he walks down the same street and he falls in again. And the next time he walks, man, I forgot the whole joke. Anyway, you made me think about it. But eventually he walks around it, and it's not a linear. I think my point was it's not linear, but he might fall in again. I'll have to figure out what that joke is. I'll tell it next time.
The spirit of it is it takes time we have to give ourselves time and compassion to practice it because it won't
Right.
be learned overnight.
And even laugh like, oh, there I am. I'm doing it again. Can't
Mhm.
believe it. But I caught myself. Oh yeah. I think he caught himself. That was the whole thing. It was like he caught himself. And when you're aware, you can make change. That's the point of it. At one point, like, oh yeah, the third time he walks, he falls. The second time he walks and he falls out, like, man, I fell in. Like, why didn't I walk around it? Right. So the awareness, and then the third time he walks around it. So first you have to come to the awareness of that you're doing it, and then of what you did to get there.
Can I
But
add
I would,
something to
yeah,
that when you're done? I'm
yeah.
sorry. Finish
No, go
what you're
ahead.
saying.
I'm done.
I was just going to add to that that the awareness is just the beginning. It's the piece that like says, "Oh, this is something to notice." And then once you kind of get that down, it starts to become more of a newer habit. You pay attention to it when you're speaking or whatever it is that you're working on. And then once that starts to feel comfortable with you, you don't think about it as much. You just start doing it automatically. We've all done this, right? We've all changed something and shifted something. And then lo and behold, either 6 months down the line, 2 years down the line, 10 years down the line, it shows back up and you're like, what? I'm back here again? And it's never that you're back anywhere. It literally is a new layer of healing. It's like you've mastered it to that point, and then it's something else and deeper for you to understand about yourself. That's what I've found in my own experience. And when I looked at it that way, it helped me not start abusing myself in the way of like saying, "Oh, well, that's because, you're never good enough. You never really did fix it. Look at what you did." It really just helped me to see that like, wow, I've come this far that now I'm ready to do something else with this. And that's like more and more celebration. And I think that's important to notice about, practices like this because they're so good and they feel great when you start getting them down. And just know that if it shows back up, it's not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing and a celebration.
Good reframe. Love it. And if we can keep reframing things like
Mm,
for what might this be good or for what why might this but and like you said, Rena, curious. I'm just one of my favorite tools to do is be curious instead of critical. We can swap that out. Like, wonder why that happened. Wonder why I did that. I
But
heard it. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I think, when you were showing that visual and Josette was really kind of homing in on the second layer of it, which is like understanding where that judgment's coming from. And it's the facing that, right? It's the, oh, well, maybe that whole thing really wasn't about me thinking that he was race that I was racist. Maybe that was really about um a fear around being misunderstood and then accused of something that I'm not in a past relationship. It has nothing to do with racism. It's really about the being misunderstood
The fear
completely.
of being misunderstood. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with everything that you said before, Josette, but I really kind of wanted to call out more specifically that it's really kind of facing the root of
mhm.
where it all comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
Because I was thinking about Joanne and what you were saying. Like I saw the match exactly to what you were saying, going back and being with mom again and feeling that same the layer of that feeling of being judged all over again. And it's been how many decades later? Like everything that you said, really kind of resonated when I was hearing Joanne's story.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. It's funny because one might think they're critical of others, but where did one get that from? Right? So, and I love that looking deeper. What is driving this? What fear or insecurity underneath from the past? Is it a person, a place, a thing, something that happened, somebody that said something to you that you wonder if it's true? Yeah, it's that. What else is coming up for people? Thoughts, resolutions.
I feel like for me, it's just really focusing more on the positive and the meaning of the compassion versus the beating yourself up. And I know it's saying the same thing, but it really, to me, it's that really embracing that. I mean, even take the situation with my mom. She's created her own story and she's not good enough in her own mind. So it's having that compassion for her that she did the best for me, even though she was trying to overcompensate. There's a whole lot that went on, but I'm sure she has to do the same thing based on her story. So I can have more compassion for her just in this conversation to do the circle and come back to she's dealing with her own mind and her own judgment of herself.
Catherine, you were saying being kinder to yourself and taking a step into that realm it's like giving yourself a self hug. It's like, and like, where do you start? I loved what you said about what would you say to your best friend? How would you talk to your best friend?
Mhm.
If you don't know
Not
how
the
to
same
shift,
way.
what?
Not the same way.
Right, but then that's your opportunity. Once you're aware, the awareness is like everything is possible when the awareness comes. It's like, oh, I'm doing that self, beating myself up thing again. Well, what would I say to my best friend instead of this? Oh, I could be nicer, huh? And I love it, turning around into the positive and allowing it. So I hope you're all feeling like a little more connected to that power within to create that self-compassion and to also, as a result, I mean, Joanne, that was huge. What you just said, having more compassion for your mother because she's dealing with her own internal fears, insecurities, judgments, and sadnesses and grieving losses of whatever aging brings. So, frustrations, don't want things to be a different way, whatever it is. And I think we're so wrapped up in our own stuff sometimes that giving that outward compassion in those close relationships can be a blind spot. And if we're all more compassionate with each other, we can help model that and get ourselves out of that. And as we have our own awarenesses too, that'll be super. So I'm going to share my, Josette, is there anything else you want to add?
It is possible
Yes.
that
Okay.
somebody who is not used to you modeling compassion suddenly sees that and suddenly does something different themselves.
It's magical. It
Yeah.
can be magical. Yeah.
Very true. Very well said.
Yeah. And that's the ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
Then you're like,
Yeah.
you just created a positive ripple there. I love it. Beautiful. Thank you for adding that.
Thank you.
So Josette and I have a couple of gifts for you. And I'm announcing my brand new, if you're willing to be my beta tester here, feminine influence code assessment that I created and put into a software that should give you your feminine influence persona. And it's based on the cards. And so you take this assessment and see where you're at with regard to the 5 feminine power principles and where your strength is and within that. So I'm going to put it on the screen and I'll also put it in the chat for you.
So cool. You never told me about that. That sounds so cool.
It is cool, right?
Yeah.
I just
Little
created
secrets
it.
on your sister here.
Well, it's just not a secret anymore. So that's at it's actually at feminine femininepowercards.com/assess. And I think I did get the feminine influence code URL. I may have redirected it there, but it's
Here's
here.
me stupidly trying to click on that.
It's now on in the chat.
Thank you.
Also on the replay. And then I'm going to put in the chat, Josette, you can tell them about your Activate Your Awakened Intelligence session.
Okay. I'm actually kind of switching it up too.
Okay.
And what I wanted to offer was an invite to a free session of my The Art of Awareness. And it's where we use creativity to start having an internal conversation with yourself. It's nothing crazy. You can come with a pencil and a piece of paper. Yet it's just using that creative process to create a dialogue with your inner voice. And so I'll put that in the chat because what's on the screen is different. You can do that too. It's activate your awakened. It's really getting down to your values. Okay, and I'm going to put this in the chat. So 6. Yeah.
Once you take the assessment, if you have any feedback for me on insights, I'd love to know. And or if you want to I think it may even ask you if you want to schedule a time to talk. But you could always email me and then we can go from there. Awesome. Thank you for that free session, Josette.
Yeah.
That's May 28th at 6 p.m. Pacific. So that's 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, cool. All righty. We lost Rena, but awesome to see you all. Sending you big hugs. And it's amazing what we can do in an hour, isn't it?
Yes.
In a sacred time. So we'll be back on June 16th. And the theme for June 16th is the art or the gift of receiving. The gift of receiving. So it's really good now that she's back. Hi. So just announced, Rena, that next month's June 16th event at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern is the gift of receiving. And I was just about to say that when there's compassion available, I think it's easier to receive, especially self-compassion. Because who's mastered receiving? Okay, well then I look forward to seeing you next month. And even if you have, bring your tips, so we could share wisdom, because that's what this is about.
Do you want us to bring people?
Do I want you to bring what?
People.
People, yes. Bring your women friends. You're always welcome to share the Zoom registration with them.
Okay.
For sure. Or send them to Feminine Wisdom Circle. They can watch .com. They can watch the replay and they can RSVP for the next one. And share some time. Yeah. I hope you love this. And we're always open to feedback on what else you would love, what you'd like to see different, and that kind of thing. Any closing words, Josette? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Rena. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to send healthy vibes to Joanne and to Catherine for what you're facing medically.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Big hug. Big hug.
Mm.
Thank you. Have a fabulous month and be in touch.
Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Nice to meet all of you.
You as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care,
Laura.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, sister.
Bye.